Happy New Year, everybody. Jocks and Jills, episode 13. Tessa, Julia. Tessa on the road right now in Ottawa. How are we doing, girl?
Good. It should be. It's like a happy New Year's Eve, right? Because we're not really there yet, but we still say it. I always find it funny. Like as soon as, Christmas and all that, those holidays pass, then it's like everyone's just like, Happy New Year. And it's like,
what do you say? And how long
not
do
the
you
New
say
Year
it
yet.
for? I was just having this conversation with somebody. When is the appropriate time to stop saying Happy New Year?
So I always say happy holidays in between Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, because right now we're in that weird phase of what day
And,
is it?
Some
How
people
many
are
more
working
Christmas
right now.
cookies can I eat?
Mm.
It's a very weird era.
Some people are back to work.
Yep.
So really, is it the holidays? I'm not even saying the right thing, but it's a weird time. However,
It is.
New Year's, baby. We're going to be ringing in 2025.
Yeah, we're
Heyo.
pumped. You got any resolutions, Tessa? Do you go into the new year with resolutions? I was just talking about cleaning my spare room. That's one of mine. I know that's not a very
Oh,
life-changing one,
mostly-
but you've seen my spare room, dude. It's crazy.
It's mostly a chore or like something on your to-do, but yeah, that could be a resolution. No, I don't really. I just, I'm a look backer of stuff that I'm thankful for, and I try to carry that stuff into the new year.
Nice. Anything standing
That
out
makes
this year
sense.
for you?
Yeah, my kids, Ed, just us kind of being brave little soldiers and taking a leap into a new
Yeah.
space.
Honestly,
Our-
that's what I've been reflecting on this year mostly too. It's crazy that this just started this year.
I know. And I think, if you look at the way the year started to now where we are, I feel like, obviously career-wise, I think change is tough. And I think we embraced it full on. And we haven't looked back. And that's not a knock on anything we were doing prior with TSN or Bar Down. It was just like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. So let's do it. Other things that stick out, just new friends, old friends, lost friends. Dutch is all over my brain right now, heading into the new year. I'm not sure why, but just the way he lived and approached life, I feel like maybe that's my resolution. I don't know. Just been thinking a lot about him, and like I said, the way he approached life, and I want to have more Dutchisms in my life, if you will. But then family, like thankful for my sister and her kids and the relationship that they have with my children. My parents as grandparents, Ed's parents, Ed's family, obviously, because they live close to me and I love them so much because I'm a big family person. But yeah, just things like that, picking out all the good and really honing in and manifesting and bathing in the good that was of this past year.
Yeah. Picking the good is a great thing. Picking the good is always something that reminds me of Dutchy. And honestly, when I go home, I get to see my Papa Guido. Shout out Papa Guido, who is
Heyo.
92 years old and just the most positive person of all time. Whenever I call him and ask him how he's doing, he always says the same thing. He's like 98.8% good. He never likes to brag and say the full 100%. He's just so positive. He prays every morning to keep his mind right. I think that's the sort of thing that, I don't know, creates longevity. And it just creates a better life, just being positive and not complaining about everything. I'm not going to complain about everything this year. And that will be another one of my resolutions. Just a positive attitude is like the most important thing. In talking about all the change we had this year, I guess it's an okay time of year for me to have a little bit of TSN FOMO. Because you and I used to work the World Juniors. You're at the World Juniors
I'm
right
here.
now.
I was going to say.
In Ottawa. Yeah. You had a really easy time staying away.
But the best moment is Ed went to the gym and he saw Bob McKenzie, Gord Miller, and Jeff O'Neill in the gym, and O-Dog was doing lunges with some dumbbells. And he kind of looked over at Ed and was like, wait, why do I know that guy? Why am I seeing here? And Ed walks over and he was like, hey man, it's me, Ed. He was like, oh shit. He's like, wait a minute. The one year you don't have to come to the World Juniors, you come to the World Juniors? He's like, what's wrong with you guys?
That's so funny. Honestly,
Yeah.
dude, I've been having a little bit of FOMO. Although, I don't have a forum to rant about this anywhere else. Canada losing to Latvia. I know it's not I know the Latvians worked really hard. I was so happy for that goalie. I was honestly cheering for them throughout the whole third period. I know this Canadian team this age group well because I covered them at the Memorial Cup and I covered them at Olinka and I covered them at U18s. Dude, I'm so sick. And this applies to women's hockey as well. I'm applying it on both sides. I'm so sick of organizations big braining roster decisions and just deciding that they know something that everyone else who watches hockey every single day doesn't know. Zane Parekh is the best defenseman in the country, and he's not on the World Junior team. And I find that this is something that happens in women's hockey too. Just big
Well-
brain decisions, deciding, you know what, maybe the chemistry wouldn't work if we did this. Maybe this wouldn't work if we did this. Guys, everyone watches hockey. Put the best players on the team.
And I won't argue with that. At this level, it's major part is because like one guy's not going to win that game.
Of course not. No.
I'm not knocking that kid. This is like a whole team thing at the World Juniors usually, but a lot of time at this level, it has to do with coaching. I mean, you could look back at the years when, Cale Makar was on the team playing 3 minutes a game. And in those 3 minutes, the guy got 3 assists. It's like, play him 27 minutes. You guys might win. Anyways. So yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, and also learning and growing as a team. Like what, if you're going to lose at any time, might as well lose there. And who cares who it's to lose.
Yeah.
It was like where were we? Czechia when when Canada lost to, I can't remember, someone really bad. Oh, Russia. They got spanked. And I was like, guys, listen, who was their captain that year? My gosh, I cover them. Barrett Hayton?
Barrett Hayton. Yeah. When they lost to the US, right?
Yeah. And they got pummeled.
Okay.
And no, it was Russia they lost to really bad in the round robin. And I was like, oh, maybe it was the US. You're right. And I was like, listen, man, when I played for Canada, we got pummeled 9-2 by the US in the round robin play. And then we came back and won it all. So take what you want from this, learn from it, move forward, go on. And they ended up beating Russia in the final. So afterwards, he was like, he gave me a hug. He's like, we did it. And I was like, yeah, man, told you. Like, who cares? Do you remember that loss? No one does. It just felt big in the moment. So,
exactly. Even that year when Bedard won, I forget, they had a weird loss to Slovakia or something like that in the round robin.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't remember because it doesn't matter.
And you know what? Those give you the nice little swift kick in the rear at the right time just to like hit the switch, to turn the notch up a little bit and get going.
Not to pump my own tires or anything, but every time I went to the World Juniors, Canada won. So if you want to guarantee a win, you guys can bring me back.
You're not far from Ottawa. Why don't you just drive on down?
No. I got things to do New Year's Eve. Yeah. We will be busy.
I did run into one of our old bosses, Julia and Pwhl Graham, who is retiring at the end of January. By far the boss of all bosses. Love this guy. He's one of my favorites. He is the type of guy that just does great things for hockey. He's built World Juniors into what it is today. So as big as this tournament is worldwide, not just in Canada, that's Pwhl Graham, everybody. And that's not why I'm praising him. I'm praising him because what most people don't know about him, and he'll probably send me a text and get mad at me for spilling all the beans.
He got you the tickets for World Juniors, so you had to pump his tires.
No.
That
was Hockey Canada. Is the fact that, when there was a time when it felt like not a lot of people were really giving a shit about women's hockey, PG is what we call him, always did. And he put more games on TV at the Women's World Hockey Championship. I believe it was COVID year, the first year we did it. I'm pretty sure we had almost every Calgary. Game.
Every single game was on TV that year. It was a really big deal.
Televised. And if there's any way to grow the game, it's get it out there for people to see. And he's selling packages worldwide to countries whose teams are doing well, like Czechia and all that. So all of these young female hockey players have a chance to watch their heroes. And like Billie Jean always says, if you can see it, you can be it. And so they're seeing it and they want to be it. So the game is growing and is in the position where it is today. I'm not saying all because of him, but in big thanks to PG. So Pwhl, I love you. Thank you for doing everything you did in the 45 years that you've worked in this industry. I had a glass of wine with him last night, so it was nice just to reconnect and have some good laughs about, all the trouble that I got in while covering the tournaments that he put me on, and thanking him for giving this young kid a shot, back in 2014 when I was cut for the Olympics. Then I had reached out to him and I was like, hey man, I got cut. I'd love to get on your broadcast. He's like, yeah, sure. I was saving a spot for you. And I was like, does that mean you thought I was going to get cut? And he was just like, no, just in case. I was like, all right. Because we had spoken before and stuff. Anyways. And that's how I got my foot in the door at TSN, and the rest is history. And here we are. So PG, big love. Congrats on one hell of a career. All of us in and around the women's game know what you have done for us, and we very much appreciate you.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's not like he just hopped on the bandwagon in 2021 when things were on the rise a little bit. He broadcasted right where you're sitting right now, Tessa, in Ottawa, the very first Women's World Championships on TSN when they rocked those pink jerseys. So PG has been an original supporter of the women's game. He's always respected it. So yeah, a little World Juniors rant for you on this New Year's Eve episode of the Jocks and Jills podcast. Anything stand out from holidays otherwise? Anything else to share about the holidays? I know Annie Bean had a birthday.
She did. My little girl turned 3, and boy, does that come with like, I don't know if she thinks she's so like old and responsible
She's
now.
grown.
It's like, I don't want to call it attitude because that always comes with a negative connotation. I'll call it swagger.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm 3 now. And it's like the other day we were going to breakfast and they're like, is anybody 2 or younger? And I was like, and I'm like, yeah. And I go to Annie, she's like, I'm 3. And I was like, damn it.
Thanks
you
a
could have
lot.
had a free breakfast, kid. Now I'm paying half price.
Thank you very much. We'll have to talk
Yeah.
about that one in the car about when
Yeah.
you're 2 and when you're not. Something that stood out for my holidays this year, Tessa, you might notice the shirt that I'm wearing.
I love it.
It's if you're listening to this and not watching, it is a shirt with a wiener dog on it that says, I've got friends in low places. Why don't I do anything like a normal person? Like, why is it that when I do something, it becomes my whole personality? I got a wiener dog this year, Tessa, as we know. And everyone I know bought me something with a wiener dog on it for Christmas.
You know why? Probably because you're a hard person to buy for. So it's like all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, she got the wiener dog. I'm buying into that.
Yeah,
now I know
maybe.
what to get her.
I'm pretty simple. Like, I don't need that much stuff. Like, so
Exactly.
maybe
So
you're
hard to buy
right.
for.
Yeah. So I got a wiener dog candle. I got a pair of wiener dog hoop earrings that you can't really tell are wiener dogs, but they're really cute.
It's funny that you got it, but never mind. Whoever bought you this stuff, where the hell are you getting this?
My mom needs to get off the internet. My mom is
Yeah.
like such a targeted. She is like the #1 victim of targeted ads. She's just ordering off random sites in Taiwan, random wiener dog merchandise. God love her though. I love it all. So it's a very wiener dog Christmas. And we got a couple games to get to, Tessa, in the PWHL.
Yep.
So let's do that now. Our headlines. Okay, right after the holidays, Boston visits Toronto. Worth noting in this one, Rylind MacKinnon was suspended for 1 game for her hit in the previous game against Montreal on Amanda Boulier.
Yeah.
What did you think of this one? There was a lot of discourse about size with this particular hit.
You took it. Okay. So sometimes size matters and sometimes it doesn't. And in this one, I don't think MacKinnon had malintent, if you will. I felt like they were both skating for the puck, right? Coming at each other, facing each other, racing for a puck. It was poked away. And then I felt like they both braced. And like when someone's coming at you and they're going to hit you, you're not just going to stand there and lean back and take it. Like if you've played physical hockey or you're a physical player or you just like to be rough and tumble, when someone comes to hit you, you counter hit back. That's how you protect yourself. And I felt like that's what MacKinnon did. And unfortunately for Boulier, her head height is directly at her shoulder. So I don't think it was like a targeted or a mean hit. I felt like and you saw they both kind of went up and protected themselves and like clenched their shoulders together as if to protect themselves kind of at the same time. It's just unfortunately for Boulier, due to size, she got the wrong end of the stick. And unfortunately for MacKinnon, she had to sit out a game.
Yeah, I was in a pretty similar place with that hit, honestly. I think there's a 9-inch size difference between the two players. I guess it comes down to, like, do you think the onus is on? Like, do you think that there's... I think, unfortunately, there's always going to be onus on the bigger player. But in this situation, it did seem like she wasn't even the one that engaged the play.
So, like, you're about to say the onus on the hitter, right? Technically, in that sense, if Boulier was the same size as MacKinnon, who's the hitter?
That's what I mean. She was the one that was the hitter.
For a hit.
Yeah,
they're both hitters. You know?
Yeah, the onus is on the bigger player, is what I was going to say. Unfortunately, it's kind of what
that. Sorry, you want to play?
there.
You're playing. I don't care your size. You're in it or you're out of it. And like, if that's the case, then Boulier could have at least easily slammed her. I'm not blaming Boulier for any of this, by the way, but she could have slammed her brakes on and not taken a hit at all. Kid's a player, so she's going in there. She's mucking it up. Fortunately, like I said, took a big one.
Yeah, but the game itself, Tessa, Toronto snaps a 4-game losing skid. This is a game that they needed. Yeah.
The Lord, because I was tired of hearing my daughter cry about this team losing. And the win came on her birthday. So that couldn't have been
I forgot that was her birthday.
Yep, that could not have been a better day to get a win. So, Sarah Nurse, I don't have to text you crying videos of my daughter anymore, asking you to please turn it around.
Had you
She
been
was
doing
like,
that? Like, what does Nursey respond?
She's the most passionate fan I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah, she has no idea what's going on out there. She just knows you. And if you want her lost, she's like, tell her I promise we'll turn around. I'm like, please, for the love of God.
That is
Do.
hilarious.
We joke, but yeah, it was nice to see Reagan Kirk back between the pipes again, getting her first win, which was huge. Would she make 26 saves, I believe?
Yep.
I want your opinion on this. Do you think she's owning the net right now, or do you think that maybe Campbell's nursing a little something? What's your thoughts?
I think that, she earned the net in that start versus Montreal, even though they didn't get a win in that game.
Yeah.
I think this Toronto team needed a spark, and sometimes Soupy was not the reason that they were on that losing skid. Let's be very clear about that. She was playing good. But sometimes I think teams, and you can speak to this better than anyone else being on the ice, you need a little bit of a jolt. And whether that's like, okay, we've got a rookie in the net, we need to play a little bit sounder in front of her. They needed something. It didn't work, obviously, in that game against Montreal, but I think it did work. And I'm not just putting the win on her shoulders in this game versus Boston.
Yeah, and I don't want to knock Soupy either because I love the kid and I love her family, but she wasn't playing true Soupy hockey. She was playing all right, but it was like, where's Kristen Campbell? That's it felt like the sharpness in her game was just lacking or missing. And I had said at the beginning of the year, now Toronto's got a solid 1-2 punch in both of these goaltenders. Like really, whoever's hot, get in there. That's where I'm at right now. Reagan Kirk is hot, so she's between the pipes. You know what I mean? And like you said, in Montreal, the game against Montreal in Toronto, she was fantastic. And so just gave her another shot at it. And she pulled through. And I think, what's turned the tide for these players or this team and these players is the fact that the people who should have been contributing were kind of contributing finally. You know what I mean? Like Confer's been having since that Montreal game, I remember being like, holy smokes, this kid's finally having a game. Like something's going on here. She's playing well. Like something clicked. Turnbull scoring her first goal of the season. I was like, I read that and I'm like, wait, what? What? Turnbull's first goal of the season. I was like, okay, floodgates open, activate. Like, let's go. And then, you got players who signed a 10-day contract and scored their first goal. Like Condis and Jess Condis.
Sick
That was
goal,
awesome.
too.
Beauty. And then you got Emma Woods, who's, been chugging away, chomping at the bit with a bullet. It was like, okay, cool. Now it just feels like the mojo and the juices are finally flowing with Toronto. They got a little bit of confidence. They finally snapped that streak, and they're looking to ring the new year in the right way. And I think a lot of that mojo kind of came from them having a chip on their shoulder, because I feel like after that emotional game, the loss to Montreal, it was like, that was our game to win. We kind of let that one slip away, and they were pissed. And they built on that game, and it showed. It was nice to see the power play contribute. I just felt like, it was like, okay, guys, enough. Like, it was just like everyone was just fed up. And I think that's kind of what happened last season too. So it's almost like the story is being rewritten again.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
Does it feel like we're at that point where last year the tides turned for Toronto and they went on that 11-game heater? Like, is that where we're at?
I'd have to go look at the numbers and crunch the math, but it
On
it
vibes
feels like
alone.
Vibes alone, yeah. It feels like, they're fed up enough. And that game just looked better. A lot of players looked better out there, IMO.
Yeah. Was one of those players Renata Fast? 6-game point streak in the PWHL.
Quietly contributing with a ton of assists. Good for her. Yeah, Fasty just looked better in general. And I feel like you and I talk about her a lot because one, we're
She's
big
on the
fans.
ice like the whole game.
2, she plays 50% of the game. And 3, she's a stud, and we just have high expectations for her. But yeah, I felt like with everybody on that team, things just looked a bit better, a little bit more connected, a little bit more fluid, less thinking, more playing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad game from Boston by any means either. I like their game as well.
No, Nider's on a 5-game point streak. Bilka, what did I say? Bilka scores.
Yes.
Love it.
Finally
strikes. Girl, watch this happen. I cannot wait. I'm such a fan of this kid. I like her as a player. I like her because she's not the biggest. She's not the strongest. But man, she's got a dog in there and it loves to fight. And I'm like, bring it. Like, I want to see that. I want to see more chippiness. I want to see more anger. I want to see her get gritty because she's got sick hands and a really good shot. And the more we see from her, I think the better Boston's going to be. Same with Lauren Gable. This player last season was just injured. Really wanted to see her get it going this year. So I hope that's, the wheels are starting to turn with her. But I will say this, 2 games at home, Toronto plays Boston. 2 games, Toronto wins. So keep an eye on this just for playoffs and stuff. Toronto's got Boston's number a little bit here, I feel.
Yeah, good point. Okay, Montreal at Minnesota. This one started with some unfortunate news for Minnesota with Petrie on the LTIR. Tragic news for them after her hot start to the season. 3 goals in her first 3 PWHL games.
Oh man, and this kid's a player, and I love her. I interviewed her, and she's a riot. Like, I would hang out with this kid any day. I can understand why this is more of a loss than just on the ice. This is a locker room loss as well, even though she's probably going to be around the locker room and the ladies at practice and rehab and stuff. But big loss for them. The thing with Minnesota, though, they always find a way to have like a next player up mentality, and they always fill those shoes very well. The expectation or the style of play that Ken Klee tells the line that is accepting a new player to play, or if it's just them collectively working together or always being on the same page. I don't know if it's the way they practice or what, but Minnesota always has that next person up, next player up mentality. Hope Petrie, shout out to you. Hope you get that shoulder gets a bit better, buddy. We want to see you back on the ice and playing in the new year ASAP. So all the best to her.
Yeah, and Montreal starts things off. It was nice to see their depth firing a little bit. It was a big focus last year for Montreal, not able to get much from their depth, and they had a chip in this game with Dubois. Mariah Keppel got her first PWHL goal. She's from Wisconsin, played Minnesota high school hockey, so she had her whole family in the stands for that one.
It's wicked. She had a game.
Yeah.
She bought into the throw pucks on net and good things happen mentality, and it paid off for her. And I hope she remembers that and just keeps that in her back pocket because, like you said, the depth was scoring here for Montreal. Obviously, the game winner came from their captain, Marie-Philippe, but nice to see these other players chip in and just get those grit grinding goals in front, tips, all of it. It's just good things happen, like I said, when you throw pucks on net, and Keppel was leading the charge with that.
Good things also happen when Marie-Philippe Plant and Laura Stacey connect for a goal, because that was just absolutely disgusting what happened there. Insane. One of my favorites of the season, I have to say.
It was glorious. I feel like everyone knew something was coming, because when Pwhl chips the puck past you at the blue line, it's kind of like everyone collectively just says, "Oh no," or "Here we go," kind of thing.
Yeah, just like the jailbreak goal she got this year.
Gardner bumps it up to Stacey. I got to give Jennifer Gardner out here a shout out here, because she made a play that I was like, cheeky. I like that. That's a smart hockey player. So I forget who was trying to back check on Pwhl, but she very well could have gotten a hand on Pwhl's hands. But Gardner ran interference on her back check, kind of not interference, but just skated in her lane in front of her to try and like slow her down. And it was beautiful. And it was done so effortlessly and so smart. And I was like, that player right there gets it. Beautiful goal by Pwhl. I was just like, she's not missing this. Lovely feed by Stacey. There you go. Smart, cheeky play by everybody.
Bye. And that kind of was the story of that game. All right, Ottawa, New York. Ottawa snaps their 3-game losing streak. Love to see Ottawa get in the win column. New York makes it 2 losses in a row at home, which surprises me. It just felt like New York was rolling to start the season, but I don't know. That I made that kind of negative, and that was my whole New Year's resolution, that I wasn't going to make anything negative, because I love to see Ottawa get in the win column, and I especially love to see their big dogs rolling, though I have to mention beforehand that Jill Saunier was activated off LTIR before this game. Really happy to see her back in. She played just about 7 minutes. Vespa was returned to the reserve list. Jill made me laugh after the game. She said, yeah, hand modeling is not in her future. So that's crossed off the future career list. But big win for Ottawa.
Yeah, and one that they desperately needed, I think, just as a coaching staff, as a team, as a franchise, for their fan base. I think they needed that, especially against a heavy-hitting New York team.
Yeah.
I mean, when they were skidding, it was like, man, who's next? Oh, they got Minnesota. Jeez, how are they going to find their way out of this one? Next up, New York. Oh, man. And it's like, they're like, no, who cares? Like, let's do this. And like you said, their big players showed up. Mrazova scoring a goal. Great. You'd love to see it. That's what you want to see. It felt like for whatever reason, I don't know if the hockey gods were gracing them with this thing, but I feel like this often happens when you're playing the right way. But it felt like Ottawa got more bounces early on. And it just kind of seemed to, that kind of contributed to like the overall momentum in the game for Ottawa. They were doing a great job, getting pucks and bodies to the net, which is, I feel like they're very, I call this like the Jerome McGinley way, where nothing has to be fancy. It's just like get up the ice, get a hard shot on net, crash the net kind of thing.
Hardline hockey.
They were doing that. Didn't matter what angle it was at. It was just all pucks on net, like quantity, not quality. And I felt like it worked for them because power plays weren't working for anybody on that day. So specialty teams really, I shouldn't say they weren't. And well, I can't really say because the penalty kill is a specialty team. So
Right.
penalty kill was doing great. Power play, not so much. But, New York even pushed back in the first half of the third period. They were guns a-blazing. Philly sniped, like, what was it in the first minute? Just a ridiculously gorgeous
A disgusting
goal.
goal from a disgusting angle. And I have to be so honest with you, Tessa. I kind of held my breath for Ottawa when that happened. It was just so early in the third period. We've seen Ottawa cough up games like that before. I thought that was a really big statement for Ottawa, that when Philly got that very disgusting goal that could very easily shift a momentum when you're playing at home and it's the third period and you have a couple goal lead. Really, really thought it was a statement that they stood pat there.
Huge. They now they know how to play with a win, even in a close game and things get tough. Don't hit the panic button. Just keep buying into what you're doing and finish out the game. And I think it's important to note that Emrance Mashmeyer, 30 plus shots, had one hell of a game. And I feel like if Mash isn't going, it's going to be hard for this team to pull off some wins just in the way that they're playing right now. Mash has been unbelievable this year. And it was just another great performance by her.
Yeah, she leads the PWHL with 145 saves and a .929 save percentage. Everyone was talking post-game about penalty killing, and it was Carla McLeod that said it. Like, penalty killing is real easy when your goalie's playing like that, and Mashmeyer gave her a good chance. Yeah, so big win for Ottawa, back in the win column. Tessa, just quickly, I wanted to do a little year in review. Since this is dropping New Year's Eve and it's the first calendar year of the PWHL will be in the books. It was a year ago. You and I were at Mattamy Athletic Center. The puck was dropping on the first game in the PWHL between Toronto and New York. Crazy that it was almost a year ago. I wanted to think a little bit of like our favorite moments of the calendar year since the beginning of the PWHL. Your favorite goal of this calendar PWHL year? I think that my favorite, Tessa, would be Cava's goal in Game 5 of...
Oh.
Was it Game 5 or was it... I think it was Game 5 of the final series against Boston. That goal she got from her knees. It was sick. It's
nice.
My fave.
That's fair. I'm still going to go to the one that happened this year in Abby Boreen. I'm sorry. It's like you can't, I don't even think it's an argument with that one, unfortunately, because it wasn't only the move and the shot, it was the player that she pulled it on and the goalie that she scored on. It was like, that's it. That's the goal of the entire calendar year for me. Glorious. And the Selly, like, holy shnikes.
Oh, the Selly was so good too. Heisey had a couple last year in that game against Toronto, and it was notable because she got 2. Thought that was another one that was worth mentioning. Tessa, what about your favorite blooper of the PWHL calendar year in 2024?
Let's go with, we had her on our show and she talked about it and she broke it down. Mashmeyer wearing her skate guards onto the ice and all of her players just skating by her. Like, see ya. Dude, except for Haley Skimura. I still
don't know how this happened. Like, I still don't understand how she got out there on the ice with her skate guards on. How?
And no one helped her. Everyone was just like, later, Mash. Like, and she like couldn't get out of it. Thank God Haley Skimura turned around and was like, hey, what's going on over here? Let me get these off for you. Like, while probably peeing their pants laughing. Like,
nobody must have known what was going on. It's mind-blowing to me that she got out there with the guards still on her blades. It's crazy. In a pro game. At home. Like a home game too. You have so many staff around to spot that.
And she said, like, I think it was the warm-ups or the period before or something. It was like she almost did it. She's like, well, that would have been bad. Meanwhile.
It wasn't bad. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Abby Levy this year turned it over to Kendall Coyne. That one's top of mind because it was a week ago, and
Ooh.
I think it made a
Yeah.
couple. I think it made a couple top tens. Remember Melody Daouz's first goal in the PWHL last season? It came from like center ice.
Oh, yeah.
In Verdun, and Corinne Schroeder talked about it with us on the show too when we sat down with her at CCM 125 this summer. She said she couldn't see anything because it was an afternoon game in Verdun, and the light was coming in. She could not see where the puck was coming from. And I went back and watched that goal yesterday, and I hadn't watched it since she gave us that context. Hilarious.
I mean, poor girl. But that's home ice advantage, I guess.
Yeah. And it's funny that it was Melody Daouz, like such an all-time skilled player. Like it'll be interesting to see how her legacy comes together over the next couple of years here. And that was her first goal in the PWHL. Floater from center ice. This year when you and I did that thing opening day in Toronto, the Barbie dance cam and our mics didn't work. That was a funny blooper.
Right.
And so anytime anyone calls you Tessa Bonhomie is also a blooper I enjoy. Or me, Julie.
Or you, Julie. Yeah. It's Bonhomie.
That ain't my name. I'm starting to think it's a me problem though. Like, no, it's not. I have to be doing something wrong that this many people think my name is Julie. Yeah. I only put this one in because this CBC feature came out this week and it made me laugh so hard. They had Pwhl mic'd up and in that last game before Christmas, and she said something like, "Hey, let's make sure they have a terrible Christmas." Sorry to do my French accent here on the Jokes and Chills podcast, but it was only funny because it was amazing.
My favorite quote would have been, who was it that when they were asking about physical play and how the ladies feel about it, and in her accent she went, "I love it."
Oh, it was
Fecto?
Yes, it was Emmy Facto. It was Emmy Facto. Hilarious. And it was Johnny Lazarus that asked the question. It was so good.
Yeah.
Fan moments from this year. I feel like the rise of Debbie has been like a cultural thing in the PWHL. Everyone loves Debbie. Whether you're a Toronto... Actually, maybe I'm speaking on behalf
Debbie
of
loves everybody, I feel.
Right, she does. She reps the Pwhl. She reps the Scepters. The Taylor Swift sing-along in Detroit.
Victoire. That was good.
Was another one of my favorite fan moments of the year. I love the mermaid costumes in New York. Ottawa fans in general are like the best. Yeah. I've been loving seeing people getting their PWHL merch as Christmas gifts. I'm adding that to like my favorite fan moments. The Natalie Spooner moment with the fan. That dad at the most recent game.
So Ed plays with hockey on Thursdays, I think, with that guy's brother or buddy, I want to say. And he was like, "Do you think you can get the jersey signed by Spooner?" I'm like, "Sure," but I feel like that went pretty viral, so the team might be doing something with that. And sure enough, I was like, good. Love that.
That's awesome. Okay, and then our favorite social media moment. Their gay Marcus is like my favorite moment ever.
Greatest. Ever.
Their gay Marcus got revived, I feel like, with the goal that Stacey and Pwhl scored. They've connected on a couple, and every time they score, people are tagging this Marcus guy. Marcus needs to get his butt out to a PWHL game. What else on social media was so good this year?
How about Ottawa Scepters last season with Gabby Hughes and the JoJo Siwa
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. That I can't even believe how they thought of that, and I can't believe Gabby pasted her face like that.
I can't believe that. Gabby's hilarious. We got to get her on the show. But that was the greatest. That needs to come back just for some viewing before the end of the year.
You're right. And then the last thing I wanted to shout out came at the very end of 2024, Tessa. It's the way that not just Toronto Scepters fans, but all fans in the PWHL and fans of women's hockey banded together behind Erica Howe. Her goal was to raise $17,000, I believe, in support of breast cancer. The last time I checked, it was over 34. And that doesn't even include the $60,000 worth of bras that Bravado donated at the bra toss at that Scepters Pwhl game. So that was a special moment that really spoke to community in the PWHL.
Totally. Loved it. It was an uplifting moment, that is for sure. That was an emotional game. And Howie, like we had mentioned before, is, a pal of ours, and we wanted nothing but for that game to go perfectly, and Bravado jumping on board just made it that much better.
Yeah, and we'll revisit some Jocks and Jill's memes from this year towards the end of the month for our 1-year anniversary, because it took us a second to get this podcast off the ground after the league started, Tessa. And in talking about Erica Howe and that very special game that happened right before the holiday break, we thought it would be the perfect time to have her on to talk about not just her current battle that she's in with breast cancer. Her story's a lot bigger than that. Like, she's had a very illustrious hockey career. She has a great career in firefighting. She is one of the most beloved people out there because of her infectious personality and general kindness, and like what a good teammate and partner she is. We've had people on the podcast come on to talk about what a great member of the goalie, not tandem, but trio she was in Toronto. And before we get started, this segment is presented by Bravado Designs, official bra partner of the PWHL, offering an understated, uncomplicated collection of intimate apparel that makes you feel beautiful, uplifted, and confident underneath it all. We got some of these bras for Christmas, Tessa, and they are fabulous. Almost as fabulous as your chat with Erica Howe.
Without further ado, I finally get to be joined by Erica Howe, who had one very incredible, special, I don't even want to call it weekend. I don't even know if it was on the weekend because I can't remember that far back. Christmas kind of erases everything, but an incredible game that she experienced at Coca-Cola Coliseum when Toronto was taking on Montreal. That game was a barn burner, to say the least. It was a ton of fun. Montreal coming out victorious in that one. However, I don't even think the game mattered. Everyone was there for another reason, and that was Erica Howe. Howie, thank you very much for taking time, especially over the holidays, to come, hang out with me. Sorry about it, but thanks for doing it.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we usually on this pod, not sure if you're a listener or not, but we usually start at the beginning of everyone's career, but just based on, what had just happened on that game on the 21st of December. I just kind of want to visit that since it's, fresh in all of our minds, and the incredible speech you had after the game. I just kind of want to touch on it all. So I guess let's start with how we got to that game and your diagnosis and when it happened and how, and the emotions that come with it.
Yeah, I think that game, everyone's like, oh, so proud of you. You did such a great job in that. But I think what people don't realize is that was my friends who put that together. My friends who had been with me the whole way, because I got diagnosed on August 26th. And I only told a small group of people, just my closest friends. I was like, please keep it to yourself, guys. I'm really not ready to deal with, I know, the support that's going to come from fire and hockey community. And then I started telling a few more people, and at the end of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I also put it out there on my dad's birthday, which just was a little special nod as well. I told my friends, I'm going to put it out on the internet. I'm going to talk about it. I think it's really important that we could do some good for it. So if anyone has any ideas about how we could fundraise or what we could do, hit me up. And the original fundraiser was let's raise 10 grand to get CJ to give me a mullet. It'll be awesome. And then Chelsea Purcell works with the PWHL, got you guys involved. And we jumped on a call right away and we're like, no, you guys were the ones who were like, let's make this bigger. Let's do some real good. Let's put something together. And that's kind of how the game all came together.
The mullet thing was awesome, by the way. That was such a hit. And Jonesy shaving her head, I didn't even know that was coming.
Yeah, me neither. She was in my kitchen the night before being like, I can't believe I'm going to shave my head. I'm like, Jonesy, you do not have to shave your head. I think if the roles were reversed, I would not shave my head. But she was like, no, if you shave your head, I'm shaving my head. I'm like, okay, go girl. And then when it actually came through, I was pretty nervous for that event, just having all my people there, the firefighters and Noxie and Rich kind of worked together to put that together last minute. And everyone showed up. It was, if I could put the feelings from that day in a bottle, carry it around with me, I think I'd be a happy person the rest of my life, because just the support was insane. And then having Jonesy sitting next to me, so I wasn't sitting there alone, made a huge difference. And I think I like the mullet. I think when my hair comes back, I'm going to keep the mullet.
Going back to the moulet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got special powers.
And my son's had one his entire life, so I feel it. And he does not want to let us trim the back. So I mean, I guess there's a thing there. But let's just talk about your relationship with Jonesy and like where that stemmed from and how you guys are so close and what it meant to have her do that for you.
Yeah, she's my best friend. I was the best person in her wedding. She didn't make me do a speech, thankfully. I'm happy for that. But we met each other in the CWHL playing for the Brampton Thunder. She's just, if anyone knows Jonesy, she's the kindest like piece of sunshine that's ever come to this earth. Like she just is happy and loves to smile. But we got really close during COVID. Jonesy moved down like 3 doors down from us at one point. And then COVID kind of hit and they actually moved away. But the bond we built living close to each other stuck. And she would come over and we would work out, her wife and my wife and us. And we just took off. And now they live around the corner again. So I'll walk to their house every day. They have a really nice latte machine. So I'll go there for lattes in the morning. But she's a really special human. Can't believe she shaved her head.
An extra hot latte after a workout. Not bad. Not bad. You guys were bubble friends. You were in each other's bubble. Yeah. That's cool. And then you mentioned Knoxie, Liz Knox, obviously a fellow goaltending buddy of yours. What's that relationship? And I know Liz Knox does a lot for the ladies as well in the league. So just touch on Liz a little bit.
Yeah, Knoxie is, again, just a great, I don't know how I get surrounded by all these incredible humans. Like that's the hockey community, right? Like all these incredible people come together.
They are, but you're an incredible human, you know.
Thanks, Tessa.
But people wouldn't be here if you were a jerk. You're one of the greats in the game. So the love's just being reciprocated.
Thank you. Knoxie was another CW. That was the same year that Jonesy, I think it was 2014, 2015 would have been the year I graduated. And Knoxie taught me everything I know about goaltending. Where it's, I would say so. Where it's, when I came to that team, I took it too seriously. You know, hockey was everything. If it was a bad game, it affected me. It affected my personal life. And Knoxie was like, it's just hockey, buddy. Like, you're a great goalie. We're good. And honestly, it was really, the support we gave each other was also something different too. Like if you're playing, I'm playing, doesn't matter. We're on the same team. And then from there, we just became like really great friends outside of hockey too.
2014, 2015, when you graduated, you were still in the national program though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that probably carried a ton of weight. And Knoxie had already been through all of that. So she kind of had insight, right?
Exactly. And back then the national team was that's the only team you can play for. So if you have a bad game, you get the boot. Like you have to go find a real job. That's not something I wanted to do.
You weren't ready to fight fires yet?
Job. No. Knoxie's the one who got me into that as well. So my life is dedicated to Knoxie.
What's Knoxie doing? That's what I'm going to do next.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just follow her ever. She set up a presentation for firefighting for our CW team. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to go. I've seen this presentation 7 times and I don't want to be a firefighter.
But what switched?
I went because Knoxie's my good friend and she would show up for me. So I wanted to show up for her. And then this guy did a presentation about what it means to be a firefighter. And I was like, 7 days a month, you play on a team, there's hockey. I'm like, I'm going to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
Here we are. There being like, great.
Yeah. When you and I had first chatted about, how you wanted to raise some funds, your initial goal was what, $10,000?
Yeah, I might have even said like 7. I like the number 7.
And just in knowing you and I guess the people that you know and the people that love you, we were like, think bigger, bud. Yeah. Like there's so many things we can organize and get done. What did your goal end up being that you decided on, that you set? Do you remember?
27,000.
Okay. And so then on the game on the 21st, we had the bra toss. Your boys were there from the fire hall, Fill the Boot, selling these hats, by the way. Did you hit your goal?
I think we doubled the goal.
Nice. I love that. Yeah. And it's not closed yet, right? You're still raising funds.
Yeah, I just left it open through the holidays. On my page with the Cancer Society, we are at like 34,000, and then the boys have another 27,000.
From the game or just the hats?
Just hats and the game.
Come on.
Because once the hats were gone, people were just lined up donating. Like
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. There was like a
So they
massive
sold
line of
out of
people.
hats.
Yeah, they sold out. They originally had 200, and then we went to the fire hall to have a brainstorming meeting, and they were like, I think we got to get more. And then they emergency ordered another 300. So they ended up with 500 at the game, and then they sold out, and people were still just coming by and donating. It's pretty incredible.
That's unreal. So you have your boys there, your fire hall crew, and some ladies. And so their support, like, how did you break the news to them? Did they read it over socials, or did you have a moment with your crew?
So when I found out, I got a call at like 8 a.m. on a Monday morning from my family doctor. And I was like, I just had a biopsy, and a call at 8 a.m. is not good. I was actually at work. So
You were at the hall.
Yeah, I was with the guys. And I went out to the back parking lot because I knew what was coming on this phone call. I thought I knew what was coming, but I came in after I called my mom. I did not call my wife right away because I didn't have a lot of information, and I didn't want to come home for work. I wanted to be at work with my team. But I came in from the parking lot and called one of them into the back hall, which was like, Kyle, like, it's cancer. Because I've been joking about it the whole time, like being like, I had this mammogram and you guys wouldn't believe what it's like. And then, so then when it came through, I was like, Kyle, it's cancer. And he was shocked. He's like, okay, what do you want to do? Are you going home? What do you need me to do? Like, gave me a big hug. And then from there, I ended up telling most of the crew that day, just my captains, so they were aware. And like, they're like family to me, you know, like I thought I used to understand like what it truly meant to be on a team. Like, hockey for sure is incredible, but when you're in, you know, a firefighting crew, it's something different because an emergency could go south real quick. So you have to trust your crew. You have to have each other's back. And like, I truly understand what it means. Like, if I drop the ball somewhere, like, I know they're going to have my back immediately and not even think twice about it. So they were the first ones who actually knew.
Well, it's not just fighting for a win, right? You guys are sometimes fighting for your lives and other people's lives as well. So
yeah,
it's a bit more than a shutout win in that instance. So so those boys immediately were just like, let's do something. Let's make some toques.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Once I started getting more comfortable, it was a little bit down the line. They were like, and I the whole time I've been like, guys, just let me be. And they're like, no, we're doing this. You don't have a choice, which actually those like first 2 months were quite stressful. And them just being like, we're doing this. I know you don't want it. I know it's hard to accept help. I know you don't need it, but we're doing it. And in hindsight, the stuff they did, like just at work and taking care of me is huge. Like, I'll never forget it.
It's amazing. You mentioned you dropped the news on your dad's birthday. I know the backstory. Do you mind sharing the backstory and why you dropped it on your dad's birthday for our listeners?
Yeah, just when I was 13, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and a terminal cancer, glioblastoma, which is a brain tumor. So he battled with that for 3.5 years and ended up passing away when I was 16, and his birthday is October 27th. And that is also why I wear number 27, and wanted to raise $27,000.
Was it just having that as a part of your history? Did that make your diagnosis a lot more scary?
Yeah, definitely. I think I didn't know that much about cancer before this.
Yeah.
Like, I just know cancer, very scary word. Now I know a little bit more. When the doctor first drops the cancer word, it definitely like plays in your mind, being like, okay, this could be very bad. But turns out breast cancer, one of the curable cancers, which is really good news. There's been it's well funded. There's been a lot of research into it. So very grateful for that.
And how are you doing right now? Where are you along in the process and treatment and all of that?
I'm doing okay. I I'm in the middle of chemo, so I'm halfway. We only count halfway
Okay.
once I'm kind of through the symptoms. That's how we do it at home.
Okay.
Everyone, when I went in for my fourth one, everyone's like, "You're halfway," and my wife was like, "Nope, we're not halfway till we get through the other side of the symptoms." Which I'm there. I'm coming out of it right now. It's definitely hard. Like, it is a battle that I didn't know how hard it would be. The physical symptoms I feel like are manageable, where nausea, tired, that kind of stuff. But I have this brain fog that's come over me where I can't make decisions and I'm irritable. And it's just like, I said to my wife yesterday, like, I just don't feel like myself, which it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like, I try and convince myself like, oh, it's not that bad. And then, but I have these 3 days at the end of the cycle, right before I go in for the next one, where I do come out of it and feel like myself. And I'm like, okay, it was a little worse than I was telling myself there. But I think too, like, my life is on hold, where I can't do anything I love to do. It's kind of been dropped out from under me, where I can't play sports, I can't work out, I've asked the doctor so many questions that she's like, literally no one has asked me this before. I'm like, have you ever had a retired professional athlete in here? I want to play hockey and I want to go swimming. But it's that kind of stuff where my lifestyle has changed so much that it makes it hard day to day. But I also know that there will be an end of it. And like, I have hope at the end that, okay, it's going to be a really fun adventure to get fit again and play sports again. Like, it's just going to mean that much more when I get to the other side of it.
That's just it. We might not be able to get you out of the gym once you get back in there.
It's true.
Right? Watch out.
Yeah.
How is going to be jacked.
Yeah, that's my plan, actually. I'm like, I'm just going to get jacked. I'm going to go on a fitness program. It's going to be the best, which actually helps me right now to just relax, like, just go with the flow. Because on the other side of it,
100%. When was the last time you've ever truly stopped? Do you know what I mean?
I haven't. Like, I love it. I love the gym. I love hockey. I had this dream that I would be the emergency backup for Toronto this year, and I know they need a goalie over there for the hurt players to shoot on. Or like, that was my dream this year. My wife and I were trying to get pregnant in 2024, and just like, it all stopped. But that's okay.
Sometimes things happen for a reason, my friend. And I think for us, it was to truly appreciate the person and player you are. And like you said, you were always aware of cancer and donating and stuff. You try to do it right. But now this meant a little bit more, and it kind of brought a lot of eyes to it. And like you said, all these hats were sold out and people were still lined up around the corner buying them. I forgot to ask you about the speech at the end of the game. And was that planned? How emotional was that? And it was so nice just seeing you back with all the ladies.
Yeah, the Scepters were amazing. Obviously, I know the staff personally, and personal opinion, they're the best staff in the league. And they were really good that day at being like, can you do this? Are you comfortable with this kind of thing? And walk me through. So at the end of the game, they were like, do you want to just say thank you? I did not know it was going to be filmed and on TV. So had I known that, I might have said no. But so I kind of knew it was coming. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I would love to have the opportunity to say thank you to all these people and everyone here and the players on the ice. So I just winged it. But had I known it was going to be on TV, I probably would have written something. But yeah, it was very
perfect.
emotional. Yeah, I wanted the girls to salute, but they were all just tapping. I was like, okay, guys, I need less attention now, please. And then Stace came over and gave me that big hug, and I was like, thank you for saving me. But it also making me cry at the same time when the girls came over. I think like Stace or Pwhl said, like, they haven't seen me. I've seen the Toronto girls. Yeah. Like, I think the bald head and the looks are a little different. Like, they're used to it, but the Montreal girls, I think it's a bit of a shock to see me so emotional in that environment.
Are you not an emotional person normally?
I'm not very emotional. I'm improving.
Okay.
Like, I will let it rip, but not normally. I'm normally very like even keel, even in play and off the ice. Like, just I like to be very even keel. So
Working on the emotions.
Yeah, that overwhelmed me, that situation though.
Well, it was beautiful, all of it. I'm glad you didn't have anything prepared. I think it hit just right. And like, man, you think, like, I don't want to take away from what you were feeling, but like, there was not a dry eye. I don't think anywhere. It was like ugly cry on my end, at least. But it was awesome to see all you back together because I know what you all mean to each other. Let's go back to some fun days. You talked about being a goalie and taking it too serious. We're gonna rip through your beginnings and how and where you fell in love with hockey the moment it happened, especially being a goalie. And it sounds like you are a goalie. You're not like the weird kind that's normal. You're like the real goalie. But I don't want to judge. I don't know for real. But let's just start with where it began.
Yeah, no one in my family plays hockey. So I grew up in Ottawa, lots of outdoor rinks. And when I was 4, all my friends played hockey. So I wanted to play hockey. My parents were like, we don't really know how to skate. You don't know how to skate. I said, no problem, I'll learn. So then from there, I fell in love with the game. Obviously, it's the greatest game on earth. But I think when I really fell in love with it, I was trying to convince my parents that I should be a goalie the whole time. Like I was playing defense, but in Mighty Ducks, when the goalies get the gear, and I was like, I need to be a goalie. This is the coolest gear ever.
Yeah.
So from the age of like 4 till 11, I was trying to convince my parents. And then finally my dad took me out and bought me goalie skates and took me skating on the canal. And that's when I knew. I was like, I've done it. I've convinced them I'm going to be a goalie.
This is it. This is my moment.
Yeah. It's the chest protector. It's so cool.
Is that it? Okay. Am I the only one that called that a monkey suit?
I think so. I've never heard that.
Interesting. Mighty Ducks. I'm so stoked you referenced Mighty Ducks because I am just aching for people to like mention things that I grew up on. So it was D1 obviously when they were District 5 and they were.
Yeah. And they get the sponsorship and they go to the store and the goalies put on their chest protector. I'm like, yes, that needs to be me.
And then you keep watching, you see Julie the cat Gaffney come in. Were you like, that's me?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The cat needs to be my nickname.
Yeah, and I used to like put it on in the basement and like fire tennis balls against the wall and like save them while I had Mighty Ducks playing. I'd like flip into the freezer like I was being checked over the boards. It's the best movie ever.
They're so great, all of them. I don't even care. Went through, I think there's 5. That's the best. So when did you get to go shopping for the gear? Or was there no shop? It was just gifted?
It was gifted. There was another goalie on my team. He was getting new gear. So then it was handed down through the ranks.
And is that cool with you? Or you just like, don't even care? These 100%. Are mine now.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved having the gear at home. Like, I don't care where it comes from as long as it's mine now. Now I'm like, new pads every 3 months, need new pads.
Yeah. Well, now that you're paying for them. Yeah.
Soup having 2 sets of gear where we got me, Noxie, and EJ have a little group chat and we're like 2 sets of gear. They don't even know what they used to be.
Are you big on the design? Were you like a color scheme person or are you just like, I don't know, whatever, throw colors on them. I'll wear them.
Yeah, throw colors on them. I like block colors, like full. I love black gear or like full color. My first set in college were full yellow. That's the play.
And you played at Clarkson, so it was like yellow.
Yeah, gold, baby.
Do you still have those?
No.
What? I don't even think you could resell them. Oh, really? Okay, I was going to say you ain't reselling those.
I think they put them in the garage sale and someone bought them.
No way. A pair of Erica Howe bright yellow Clarks. Although they were probably marked up with a lot of black puck marks. I mean, you're making some serious saves back then.
Yeah, we weren't great my first 2 years. And I had those pads for the first 2 years. So they were done.
Fair enough.
Like marshmallows.
Let's talk about the journey to Clarkson. I mean, so you finally become a goalie. You playing boys or girls? And then how'd you get recruited?
I played boys until grade 11. And then I switched over to girls. I almost didn't make it to college, to be honest.
I was going to say, so how'd you even get recruited? Because a lot of them wouldn't see you.
Well, that was a different time where
Right.
I think I ended up committing like in February of my grade 12 year. But it was mostly because I would just ghost the coaches because I didn't really know what was happening. Like I know. I'm going to say this was also the time where my dad passed away. So, and now that I understand the stresses, I understand what my family was kind of going through a bit more. But I also was a little bit immature. So it was like a perfect storm. Yeah. And I would answer coaches for a bit and then just kind of ghost them. And then I'd actually I was just like waiting for all the other goalies to decide where they would go. And then Clarkson was the one that was open. And one of my friends, Panat, she was a goalie in Toronto, and she got dropped from UNH. And she actually called me and was like, listen, I got dropped from UNH. I know you're looking at Clarkson, but I'm going to start talking to them. So I just want to give you a heads up, which is like, I don't even know, a 17-year-old doing that in my mind is just very mature, very nice thing to do, because I think I would have been heartbroken. Yeah, I would have been heartbroken if she had taken that spot at Clarkson. But I guess the coaches too at Clarkson tell this story where because I ghosted them a couple times, that they got together and were like, listen, if Howie comes in and she's a problem, what are we going to do? If she's a problem kid, because they couldn't get a gauge on what kind of person I was. And then I came in and I had a good GPA and I really like to follow the rules. So they were pleasantly surprised. But it was a conversation. I did not ghost them. I finally committed. And thankful I ended up there.
Unreal. You played with some pretty great players that are still in the league now. Walk us through your Clarkson time. My dad actually went to Clarkson University, so he warmed the place up for you ladies. Yeah, he played hockey there for a few years. But for you, what was the Clarkson experience like?
Yeah, Clarkson was honestly the perfect fit for me. It's like a tiny town.
It is. It's so small.
Yeah, if you're missing a math test on a Friday, guess what? You're doing it on the bus with all your friends. Like, it's that kind of, not just kidding in case they listen, but yeah, a tiny town where like everyone rallies around the hockey team. I love a university where on a Friday night, like there's really nothing else to do. So your team is getting together no matter what. Like, it's not like, what is everyone doing? It's like, where are we going, guys? Like every night out is just together. And I love that. I love that tiny vibe. But then my first couple of years, we were bad. I think in my first year, we set a record for most losses in program history. Yeah, we did a lot of skating.
I was going to say that, and there was probably a lot of team bonding off ice happening.
Mm-hmm. It was one of those, we got skated hard every time because we lost every time, and then we would bond after. Yeah. But in my first year, I think there was a rule that the freshmen weren't allowed at the bar.
Really?
Yeah, very interesting tactic. So it kind of created a divide, I would say. So it was a tough year. And there was 8 of us freshmen.
Yeah. You guys are like almost half the team.
Yeah. So we would all hang out at the team party, and then they'd go to the bar, and then we'd go back to the dorms and hang out. But then in the end, I feel like that made us closer.
Right. That's where the second half
turned over. Exactly.
Once you got rid of all the upper class. Yeah.
Yeah. Sophomore year.
So then how much more did you appreciate your junior and senior years? And what was the legacy that your class wanted to leave behind?
Yeah, I think right from the freshman year when it didn't go well, our class decided that we would try and be better. Although Ambrose definitely says that I was a mean upperclassman, but we tried to be better.
Why did she think that? I can't see you ever being mean. I'm not going to lie. And I feel like we know each other pretty well, and I can't see you being mean.
I think a lot of people will think that's funny, Tessa. I am a little bit, I'm a shit disturber. I like to stir the pot. Okay. I like to chirp. I like to make fun. Mean. And Ambrose is quite sensitive. So the combination, I think. Yeah. Now we've hit our stride. Now we meet in the middle, but the combo.
She understands your humor is what it is.
Exactly. I just take
That's how you show love.
To get warm. Exactly.
Right? If I'm not ripping on you, I don't like you.
Exactly. Renata has a story like that too, where she was like quite a bit afraid of me. But then one day I sat with her in like the calf and she was like, oh, Howie actually is a normal human being. I was
Stop.
like, she only told me this story like last year. Like, I do not remember this at all. She's like, I literally texted the other people in my class being like, Howie just sat and talked with me and just talked like a regular person. Like, okay.
So is it because you were like one of those goalies?
Oh yeah. No, I don't think I'm not a goalie in the sense of do a routine or anything like that, but I'm just like a little bit weird and like to chirp.
Okay.
Just as a human, but
Right.
I'm not superstitious or have a lot of goalie things on the ice. I don't need things to happen, but I am a little bit weird and out there. I'd say in the locker room's my favorite place on earth. Like, I feel like I can truly be myself. I'll dance, I'll sing.
That's where you buy into the weird.
Exactly. Couple performances last year in the big venue games.
Hey-o.
Just dancing, singing after the games that we won.
TikTok dances, or are they like Howie specials?
Howie specials, I'd say.
Okay, not TikTok.
No, not TikTok. I've been trying to pass the torch, being like, someone's got to dance after these big venue games if you win this year, but no one's biting on Toronto.
You just got to designate it to a Rook, turn on that like Howie scariness and just be like, listen here, Rook, welcome to the league. You're the dancer.
Yeah.
No, it could be Reagan Kirk. She's a rookie goalie. Just hand it to her.
That's true.
Right?
It's an elite position. So I got to see if she can handle it.
Have some tryouts. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Some dance offs. All right. For all the Marbles ladies, dance off. Could you imagine? If you do that, can we come and film this? We need this content.
This might be good content.
Right? Do you have any videos of you dancing in the locker room? Or is that just straight secret in the vault? No one will ever.
In the vault. That's like those are in the locker room only. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Some stuff belongs there. But you literally have no goalie routine. I find this very difficult to believe with all goalies. Like Debbie Ann's like, no, I do nothing. I'm like, I don't know if I would trust a goalie that does nothing.
Debian is literally the chillest. Chill. Doesn't care.
I know.
I like when something goes wrong. Like the game I played against Boston this year, my shirt didn't show up, like my undershirt for my gear. And they were trying to find it, and the girls were going out on the ice for warmies, and I was just chilling, and I kind of like that chaos. That's
just something to throw you.
Yeah. It was like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm just going to look for my shirt. Game's going on. Let it happen. I'm just going to relax here.
Really?
But other than that, I like to play spike ball. That's it.
Yeah. Spike ball is like the most intense, fun game, I feel like, for warm-ups, to the point where I feel like if it was around when I played, I would have had like a million more injuries. But every single one of them would have been worth it.
Worth it. The game before the game. You and Julie Allen would have had a good time playing spike ball.
Julie Allen is so intense. There is no one out there that is more competitive. Maybe Jana Hefford, but there's no one out there more competitive than Julie Allen, who is an old teammate of mine. For the listeners who are wondering who Julie Allen is, she now coaches the Etobicoke Dolphins, right? She's in the Dolphins program?
Mississauga Hurricanes.
Oh, she's
U15.
Mississauga. Sorry. Yeah. Mississauga Hurricanes. And she's actually a skills coach. Julie Allen Hockey. Look her up. She's awesome. But Howie, just what's left for you this year, and what are your goals for next year before we let you on your merry way?
Just enjoy time with family, I think, through the holidays here. That's something that through this whole thing, it's really put in perspective kind of just my life and what I love and who I love. So just enjoy time with family through the holidays here. And then 2025, get healthy, get jacked.
Get that mullet.
But get back to work. I think just like get back to my regular life. That's all I want in 2025. Live my normal life, play hockey, be a forward. That's it.
Well, everybody, we are not done fundraising. We're going to tag the link in this episode. So please scroll down, go have a look, go donate, because we've blown past our goal, but let's just blow it out of the water where people were thinking like, man, let's do 27 times 4. How's that? Right? 27 times 4.
Great.
we're all pushing for you. We're rooting for you, Howie, and we're following along. We'll update our viewers too if there's ever anything you want us to share in terms of fundraising. I don't know if the hats are completely sold out or if you can still get them.
Up in the air. We don't know yet.
Okay. If you didn't get one, sorry about it. If you did, woo-hoo. Thank you for donating. And have a very happy new year, Howie. Thanks for taking the time, buddy. Enjoy yourself ringing in the new year.
Thanks so much, Tessa.
And again, that interview was presented by Bravado Designs, official bra partner of the PWHL, offering an understated, uncomplicated collection of intimate apparel that makes you feel beautiful, uplifted, and confident underneath it all. Tessa, that was so good.
We talked about Jonesy a lot on there. I can't even... Did we mention it was Jess Jones? He used to play in the league, played for Toronto. We did. Okay, Jess Jones.
I don't know if you mentioned that.
I just want to make sure Jess
Retired
Jones
this summer
is
as
getting
well.
her flowers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Liz Knox, who also had a great hockey podcast with
Noxie. With Cax, yeah.
Yeah.
They were a good listen. They were a good time, those two.
For sure. They're too important to be messing around on the mic with us right now. They'll be back in the mix eventually. Should we hit a couple Send It segments before we end the year, Tess?
Sure. Toss two at me.
Okay, cool. This one was sent before Ottawa got it back on the rails. Is Ottawa's problem coaching? Seems to me they have a fair bit of talent, but seem to not be able to put the puck in the net. Their shots this season are again in the low end compared to what their goalies have had to face. Thoughts? I love Carla, but something's got to click soon. Okay, to me, Tessa, this is peak like what happens when a team is struggling. Like when a team is struggling and you can't figure out what's happening. And I'm not. This question is from our friend Lynn Goldeman, and I'm not calling her out because it is classic hockey fandom. If something's looking a little weird for your team and you like your roster, you're like, all right, coach, you got to go. And that's the unfairness of being a coach in professional hockey. But man, I don't know many people who could bond a group and bring a group together the way our friend Carla McLeod can.
And I would blame the coach if the scoring chances weren't there.
Right.
Because the coach can put all the systems in place and tell the players what to do. But if the players that are supposed to score aren't finishing, the coach can't score from the bench. So like I said about talking about the Ottawa game earlier, the bounces were finally going their way. And it's kind of like Toronto even. Like stuff wasn't going their way. Things weren't clicking and it just takes a minute. And last season, they got cooking. Ottawa got cooking late in the season as well. Or in the middle of the season, I can't remember. I have to look back. Regardless. But when they're going right and you see how the team can look, you're like, there it is. Like they have it under this coach precisely. It just felt like chances were there. They weren't really turning it over in terms of like putting the puck in the back of the net. But it's kind of like goaltending. Sometimes it's not even that the goalie is playing bad, like you said. Sometimes you just need a switch. Yep. Do I think that's the case? No. I think if you went around that locker room and did like, a questionnaire where their names weren't attached to it and it's like, would you like a new coach? I feel like consensus would be, no, we're great where we are. Thanks.
Yeah. This one's from Joyce Bassett. 2 questions. We are solidly 3 hours away from Montreal, Boston, and New York. Newark is closest if traffic is good. Of the 3, would you recommend any of the 3 home venues in terms of fan experience over the others? Also, what are the chances of a future Montreal or New York home game in Albany or Lake Placid? Or the takeover games generally in bigger markets that are potential sites for expansion? Lots of good questions here.
So the Albany Lake Placid thing, way above our pay grade and way above our head, but we will pass that question on for you. Of those 3,
but the second part of that questions are the takeover games generally in bigger markets that are potential sites for expansion. I would say that's fair. I would say that it's fair that they're testing out markets that they're thinking of for expansion.
Yeah, markets that have appetites for female hockey, absolutely, that want to support it and help grow the game, 100%. You're not just going to throw a game somewhere just because. But with those 3 markets, I would absolutely go to Montreal. Dance party, city, the food, Montreal smoked meat, poutine. You know what I mean? You're not losing there.
No, 100%. That's what I would say too. Go to the Montreal game. And as 2 people who like haven't been able to go to a Montreal game, please go for us, Joyce. We want to attend the dance party and we will attend the dance party before the end of the season. And that brings us to the end of this year, Tessa. Happy New Year, everyone. Tomorrow's kind of the day we all get our fresh start mentally. It kind of feels like a nice blank sheet of paper. It'll be officially 1 year since the start of the PWHL. And what a day that was a year ago at the Mattamy Athletic Center. It was emotional. It was euphoric, and it's just continued to get a little bit better every single day since then, Tess.
Yeah. Be safe, everybody, ringing in the new year. Just be responsible. If you have to sleep on a couch, sleep on a couch. It's a whole new day the next day. No getting home in dangerous ways, guys. Let's take care of each other. All right.
Absolutely. There's worse places to wake up than a couch on New Year's Day. So make sure you're staying safe. Make sure you're hitting subscribe on YouTube, on Spotify. Make sure you hit follow on Instagram, X, and TikTok as well. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you in 2025.
Happy New Year.